Ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. And today, this video is going to be about black people. Yay! Well, probably because the black people, the black caucus, every single black person I have known have lost their ever bloody damn minds. The video that I am going to show you guys is just astounding in itself. And what I'm going to be going over, you're going to be saying, no, JMReports, that's impossible. That cannot be a thing. That is not a possibility, and you're lying to us. You're just flat out lying to us. Unfortunately, my friends, I'm not lying to you here. I don't do lies on this channel because it is against my code of honor. And if I do accidentally make a accidental story or whatever, I will definitely say, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize, I did it. No, this is true. They are doing something crazy here in Maryland, and I'm going to just show you a little bit of a sample of what they're doing here because it's complete insanity.
The Legislative Black Caucus of Maryland is listing out their priorities for this session. One of them is a law that changes how many juvenile cases are prosecuted. The bill would mean some of the most violent juvenile crimes would automatically start in juvenile court instead of adult court. City State's Attorney Ivan Bates spoke out against that plan earlier this year.
I think there's a movement to say every single case involving a juvenile should automatically start in juvenile court. We're going to fight that like nothing you can imagine because we recognize how terrible that will be for the community.
Now, guys, I'm going to be showing you here on what's actually happening. Now, this is what they're doing. They're trying to fight juvenile court because, if juveniles are so innocent and nice, they are just going to, they have to slap it down and reduce the sentence. But that's not the biggest thing here, right? This is not the biggest thing that is a part of this. Now, we're going to go look at the typical, the big thing here that they're talking about, and it is the Legislative Black Caucus of Maryland of 2025 legislative priorities. Yeah, you heard that right. It is the legislative priorities. Now, what we have here in this caucus specifically is a few things. We have health, housing, wealth, education, and public safety and justice reform. Now there's a few things here that we have to go over, right? A few things that we have to go over because we can ignore the other four. But the problem is the fifth one. The last one really strikes a chord with me, and we're going to be going over it, and it's public safety and justice reform. And it says they have the Second Look Act. Now, the Second Look Act is in a lot of states, but essentially what it is here, my friends, is that it is the second look defined legislation authorizing judges to review sentences after a person has served a lengthy period of time has been referred to as a second look law and more quickly as a sentence review. So what they would do is review the actual case by case or whatever and say like, oh, well, you could probably be let go or etc. and do this. So that is the Second Look Act. Now, there's another one that's in here that is what we would call the medical and geriatric parole reform. Now, that's another one here that we would probably have to go and look at again because we don't know what that is, right? Well, it is not hard to find because we end up finding here, and it says medical geriatric parole reform aims to improve the process of releasing people from prison due to medical conditions or age. Reforms can include expanding eligibility, reducing bureaucratic hurdles, and improving the quality of care for the incarcerated people. Now, that doesn't sound too terrible, right? That doesn't sound too terrible. Of course, this is just getting worse here. And finally, we are going to go into the next one, which is the Youth Equity and Safety Act. Yes, and this one here is a bill in Maryland that aims to reduce the number of youth charged as adults for certain crimes. It would also ensure that these youths are housed in juvenile facilities. So that's the big one here. That's the big one. Don't worry, guys. It gets worse. It gets worse because, apparently the youth are just so innocent and nice. They're great. When they go and shoot people, they shouldn't be charged as adults here because, that's a thing, right? We shouldn't be doing that.
The Youth Equity and Safety Act, or YES Act.
This is a public safety bill.
Senator Will Smith, chair of the Judicial Proceedings Committee, says he'll back the legislation this year.
You're going to get better public safety outcomes when you get used the services and the supports that they need so that they don't recidivate.
If the bill passes, 75% of crimes that now start in adult court would start in juvenile court instead, with some of the most violent cases staying in adult court.
We are against it. The 24 state's attorneys are not in favor of automatic filing in juvenile court for a number of reasons.
And you know what, another thing that they're in favor, guys? Another thing that they love so very much? Oh, they're in favor of, roll the drum please, repeal felony murder. Yes, guys, you heard that right. Repeal felony murder. This is not a joke. I am not lying to you. This is literally on their justice reform thing, and it says repeal felony murder. Now, when somebody says repeal felony murder, it really makes me scratch my head, wonder why this is in here, and maybe they should probably go to a psychiatric home because it doesn't make any bloody sense. What's next? Are we gonna repeal grape? Because I guess that should be allowed. What is going on here with the black people of Maryland? I don't even know anymore. What is happening? Where are we at in a society where we're going, oh, let's repeal felony murder because that's so fine. So that's not just the only thing that they're in favor for, right? They are in favor for repealing felony murder, and they're saying it's about to make safety better and everything great. Right, so what you're going to say is you're not going to make people have a felony for murder. So for instance, people could go out, shoot somebody in the head multiple times, and then go kill more other people. And since when they go and do that, they're not going to be charged for felony for murdering people. That's great. This is the reason why black people do not have a good reputation, because they do stuff like this, and then you make you wonder, why are we allowing black people to make any decisions at all? Because they're doing stuff like this.
The president of the Maryland State's Attorneys Association calls it a threat to public safety. One of his big concerns is slowing down the judicial process. He points to a law saying in juvenile cases, a Department of Juvenile Services officer has 25 days to decide whether to make an arrest in any given case.
So if a person shot up a school and the police had to go to a DJS intake officer, an officer can take up to 25 days to decide whether or not to make an arrest. It's very cumbersome, very slow.
Well, you probably want to get up to the correct amount of law for doing that. I understand that court and law is a very, very slow process, at least here in America. And that's something that we do have to understand and rectify. But the problem is here is, you imbecile, you Rich Gibson, because you're an idiot, is that you're wanting to also repeal murder. So it wouldn't matter. So what would happen is that even if the kid did shoot up the school, not only would he not have felony murder under his belt if he actually killed someone, but he would also not be have a lot of his sentence revoked or reduced because of your Youth and Equality Safety Act. So this is a problem. You're just allowing criminals to roam the bloody streets. What is happening here? What's going on? Why are you still in office? Why are you even allowed to be attorney? Why is the caucus even alive? What is happening?
The concern is DJS's ability to handle more cases. If this bill passes, the department would be flooded with new cases that Rich Gibson says he's not sure they'd be able to handle.
DJS's cup overfloweth right now, and they can't really handle it. They're not showing society that they are handling the kids they currently have, the portion of the kids they currently have, exceptionally well. The conversation would be very different if DJS was really handling the kids they currently have exceptionally well.
Rich Gibson says there are already avenues for young people who are better suited for juvenile court to be transferred there, even in the most serious cases. He says state's attorneys would prefer to keep things operating the way they are now.
This is complete insanity here. This is insanity because what you want is to have these kids be only in juvenile detention center or whatever, right? But the thing is that you don't want to charge these kids as adults. That's a massive problem. We cannot be having that. When a kid goes and, maybe rapes somebody or shoots somebody, commits a felony crime or a felony offense, perhaps they should be in adult prison and charged as adults because they're acting like an adult and doing a heinous crime. We all know kids can understand between right and wrong, and most people and most kids do not go out and slaughter other people. But in these cases, we need to have an actual reason to be for them to be charged as an adult, because we don't want these kids being released out early for a crime. And not only that, you don't want to make murder a felony. So that's another great issue that we're having. You are going to throw Maryland into a complete hellscape of crime and murder because you want to feel bad for the juveniles. We cannot always be treating kids as these innocent little. I use what Children's Justice Warrior says, baby Aladdins, to be roaming the streets. It's like sometimes kids are just evil. Sometimes kids are bad. Sometimes kids need to have repercussions for their actions. And the fact that you do not want this to happen and keep them in this little juvenile court and not charge them as adults is a massive problem. I think that Maryland needs to remove the Black Caucus. I don't even think the Black Caucus needs to even exist. I think they need to be abolished immediately because they are a huge detriment to the people of Maryland and that place. I know one thing's for sure. I am definitely not going to Maryland anytime soon because I think the fact that my life would be in danger because murderers would be roaming the streets. It may not have been passed yet, but I don't have any promises because if people like this are allowed to get into American high level of society, then I don't have very much hope that it will be repealed. So good luck, Marylanders. I hope this doesn't happen. But what do I know? That place has lost its ever-loving mind, and this is making me lose a lot of hope for the Black community in general. All right, guys, that's it for the video. Like, guys, share. As always, take care, my friends.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted, cause it's algorithmic disease.